You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, it's AFTERBUZZ TV's Game Control Live.
Hey guys, and welcome to Game Control Live. Today's an awesome episode because we're gonna have Hiroaki Yura on the phone in about 5 minutes here coming up soon. But before we get to that, we're playing some music of his. This is actually Shadow of the Colossus, The Opened Way. He didn't write this song, but his orchestra actually performed this song. That is the Eminence Symphony Orchestra performing this song. Awesome, because I love Shadow of the Colossus. I was like, we gotta start off with some Shadow of the Colossus because it's so sick. Joining me all the way across the table, Grant Kohrmann.
Howdy, everybody.
And next to him, presenting him as always, Raychul Moore.
Hello!
Just like The Price is Right.
I know.
And presenting, also Rachel presenting Kaori. I'll do The Price is Right. Kaori Takee.
Hi, guys. Yay, I'm back.
You can win a lovely Kaori Takee if you actually guess the price of this mug. Over or under?
Can.
You gotta be under. You gotta be under.
I'll give you a hint. 5 cents.
Hey, that's rude.
All right, guys, I'm Dave Klein. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Today we're going to be talking about Gamescom because that was this week, so we got a lot to talk about with Gamescom happening right now as well, going on this very moment, depending on when you're watching the show.
But least we forget, Dave, a very important thing that everyone should remember, and that is
what you guys should probably do is call in at 424-256-1729 if you guys have any questions. If you guys want to chime in on any of the things we're talking about, make sure to call in 424-256-1729, and we will be checking in with the live chat and see what you guys have to say.
Mr. Yura, it seems like, is calling in right now.
All right.
All right, guys, so we have Hiroaki Yura calling in at the moment.
Welcome to Game Control Live.
Hi.
Hey, Hiroaki, how you doing?
Hello.
Pretty good. It's 4 a.m. Japan, and
4
I'm
a.m.?
geeking. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Exciting.
Holy crap.
That's about the time I go to bed.
So you must be pretty tired. So have you stayed up this late, or did you just wake up?
Usually I'm awake until 5 a.m. these days.
Yeah, creative types wake early in the morning.
Well, you've been busy with Project Phoenix, which is what we're specifically talking to you about, which is your indie title. And congratulations, you guys have already surpassed your goal by a lot. $100,000 being the initial goal.
Nice.
We're very excited.
So I have to ask you, being that $100,000 was the initial goal, we've been seeing a lot of these Kickstarters start where $1 million is the initial goal for a project of this scope. How were you able to keep the initial goal so low?
Well, the thing is, most of our stuff is working on a royalty basis, where we get paid when we actually start selling the game. We just didn't have, we didn't have enough 3D modelers to cater for the models, basically. So we had to ask Stefan to outsource, those services outside of the group. So basically, $100,000 was the minimum amount of models that we required to actually make the game. Therefore, we kept the goal at $100,000.
Yeah. So the other thing I'm wondering too is you've been known for composing music. That's really what you are known for, is creating music for games.
I'm a music director, not a composer.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. But
for probably the same thing anyway.
But for I mean, it's a little different. But from being a music director and now you are the game director on Project Phoenix, how was that transition, and how were you able to actually bring on such massive talent to this when you this is really your first big time as a game director?
Right. Well, let's just say I got lots of friends. Well, I'm kidding. Well, look, I work both in the United States and Japan, and I guess I know a lot of people who I respect, and who I keep in contact with. And these people, well, I just put these people together. People ask me what is the difference between a music director and a game director, and game director / producer, and I tell them there isn't much actually. I don't have to deal with egoistical maniac musicians like myself. So. And it's a much smaller team, when I actually work on music, like for Soul Calibur 5, I'll be dealing with 120 artists, and that's a lot of people I have to deal with. Whereas for this game, I'm only working with 26 people.
So it's more of management then. It's just really that same management skill that goes into it.
And how many people do you have lined up to work on Project Phoenix?
Well, mainly it's about 26 people.
So it's a relatively it's a medium small team for an indie studio, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, what I'm wondering is that you mentioned you go back and forth between the U.S. and Japan, and I mean you were also born, or you were not, I don't know, born, but you were raised in Australia. I'm just curious that you have a lot of talent for Japanese, you have a lot of talent for European, you have a lot of Australian talent. And I'm wondering if that language barrier ends up ever being an issue.
Well, not really, because I'm translating I'm translating for everybody. But most heads of units report to me, so it's very easy because I can. I know both languages. But sometimes, like for example, the story is written by Yoko Enoki, and she doesn't speak English, and then it gets edited by, Bill Benfield, who can only speak English, or he knows a bit of Japanese,
right.
But not enough, And what would happen is our liaison staff called Nadia, who's helping us with the PR side as well. She would do a straight translation, and then that gets edited by Mr. Benfield, and then I approve it. So it's nothing major in terms of language barrier, and some people can speak English. Like Gontaro, he can speak. He was kind of like raised in New York, drawing Marvel comics, and then he moved into Tokyo. So naturally, he could speak with Stefan, who's making the models in English, and there'll be no problem. So look, it's not a major issue or problem. We just have to be careful and think in advance in terms of communication.
Well, I gotta say, man, it sounds like it really makes you have a lot more work because you have to act as kind of the official translator, making sure everything's correct.
It's fun
too. Well, I got Nadia, so she handles things for me when I can't.
Yeah. Well, I do want to ask you about the gameplay of Project Phoenix because, as gamers, that is the core aspect of any game. And when I was looking over the Kickstarter page, I was trying to figure out how the RTS aspect of it works. And I know from listening to other interviews, you're a big fan of Warcraft. And I'm kind of curious, is there any sort of Warcraft influence of the actual RTS element of the combat? Or how does that actual combat system work? Because I was a little confused as to how it actually works.
Okay, it's really hard to explain because obviously we're doing something that hasn't been done. The concept, we are taking bits and pieces of concept from other games, but look, nobody's done it before. So it's very difficult to explain by words.
Well, that's probably why then I was having a little trouble with it. I guess it's because it hasn't been done before.
Absolutely. Look, the main things are there in terms of RTS gameplay. So there's always like that fog of war, and use the terrain to be able to look further away from where you are or not. Some units are able to scout better than other units. And it's really in the basic sense it is similar to StarCraft or Warcraft. And those like missions where you control a bunch of heroes in StarCraft or Warcraft, and you don't get to build barracks to get more men or whatever. You just have a bunch of predetermined heroes, and you go around doing a mission and stuff like that. It's going to be similar to that. The only difference is there's not going to be micromanagement, and people will go, "Huh? What do you mean there is not going to be any micromanagement?" The thing is, you get to set people's characters, like for example, be aggressive. Well, each squad's stance. You get to be aggressive, defensive, or stealth, and obviously you tell them exactly where to go. The rest, they'll do what's necessary because they're heroes, basically. They're trained to do what is the best to their effect. So I think it's better if I ask you what else should I explain, because it's this is the standard thing that I do every time. I'm trying to explain it as best I can, but I don't think I'm making myself clear in some point.
No, I think I'm getting it. So it sounds like you don't have to really worry about managing resources like you would in something like World of Warcraft, where you have to worry about game miners there and all of that. As you were describing, kind of those hero missions, that makes a lot more sense to me for how that works.
Right. Well, in Warcraft, you have to manage your gold and stuff like that. But there's no, project management or resource management in our game. By RTS, we're just using the RTS combat mechanics, not the actual, need more gold or build more pylons or all that crap.
Sure. Well, I do have to say, it's cool to me as well that you're using so many different elements, and I like that. I do like that you describe that there's not going to be grinding you have to worry about. I usually think that's a positive thing when an RPG can make it so you don't have to grind. So props to you guys on that. And also, just something I want to throw out to you that I really enjoyed is that you actually have a specific artist specifically for doing chibi designs. I thought that was really unique, very cool.
Yeah, Asami does that, does the chibi designs. But, we don't want to make it super chibi, it's just putting off. There's a good reason why we actually make it into chibi designs, because it's all about character identification and the silhouettes. People think it's like, oh, that's so cutesy and that's so immature, but it's actually not, because it's really about being able to identify your character quickly enough so that you can actually select your units, your necessary unit to do whatever you want to ask them to do.
Right. So as far as JRPGs go, and I think this is also something where maybe the chibi design helps. Specifically, it seems like it's used in the RTS combat arena. I feel like a big boundary JRPGs are facing in this new generation are the raising costs of everything when you have to have super graphics. And it seems like your art style, maybe that's what's allowing you to create this within a reasonable budget. Would you say that's kind of an accurate statement?
Yes, it is. But another way I want to put it is that I don't think it's necessary to have, super realistic graphics to have a fun game. I think it's harder to deal with the issue of making the game fun rather than making the game look pretty. I think I mean you've had great fun playing Zelda on SNES, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree with you. Like, I'm a big fan of, 3DS is really the only place for me to go right now to get good JRPGs, and they obviously don't have the new killer graphics.
Right, exactly. That's what we're trying to do. Like, it's not about the graphics. I mean, you forget, if you give me 10 million, I know how to spend it, but I don't think we need it to make a great game.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, most of the games I've actually played from Kickstarter recently have not had, it's how they use the current technology and repurpose, graphics that we're familiar with in a new fashion.
Yeah.
Exactly. I loved FTL.
FTL, Kentucky Route Zero, I love them.
Yeah. All right, Hiroaki. A lot of people are kind of talking about how JRPGs are sort of dead on Sony and Microsoft, but not for the Wii and the DS. And I think that does have to do with that aspect where they're trying to push the boundaries for real graphics. So it's cool to see what you're doing. And I have to say, the idea of it being on Steam, I really appreciate you guys supporting that community. So thank you for that, and thank you so much for joining us. You guys are already
thank you.
You guys have already blown away your goal, $601,000 as of this morning of the $100,000 goal, and your next stretch goal is only 40,000 away or 50,000 away, and with 17 days to go. So congrats on that, and I wish you the best of luck for your first venture as a game director.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
It's been very exciting.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If I can sneak in a question real fast here, Dave, Mr. Yura, one of the credits that I saw online when I was looking at some of the credits of Project Phoenix was that the as Nobuo Uematsu was credited right now as one of the. What is it like actually to work with? I guess like a name like Uematsu, in
Right.
specifically for that.
Well, you know, he was actually the first person I worked with in this industry. So I don't really know what to say. He's like a, you know, happy old chap, and you know, he loves his wine and beer, and and you know, he just, you know, he doesn't have a lot of time, but he's, I don't know, he's your I guess your uncle next door.
Yeah, well, that's a great connection, because I think everyone saw like, wait, this is something Nobuo Uematsu's working on too. What is this? So definitely great on that. And I saw the video too where he's talking about like, oh, well, you bought him a nice fancy wine, so it seems like there's a way to win his heart through wine.
It's always food and alcohol.
Nice.
So now we know.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. And the final stretch goal is $1,650,000. So I hope you guys reach that, because a lot of your guys' stretch goals are really cool. And congrats on already reaching the funding goal.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Of course. And best of luck to you.
Thank you. Thanks for the interview. It's been great.
All right. Well, with that said, guys, let's go ahead and move on and talk about Gamescom. But that is Project Phoenix again that Hiroaki Yura is working on. A lot of great talent behind it. We've got he was the music director on a bunch of big projects like Diablo 3. One of them we have as John mentioned, Nobuo Uematsu from Final Fantasy composing music. Some
Super
big
Smash Brothers.
Right, Super Smash Bros. There's some big artists working on it who've worked on big JRPGs. One of the game designers from LA Noire working on it. So just a big mishmash of talent working on this game. So it's definitely a cool Kickstarter to check out with 17 days to go if you guys want to check it.
Isn't it the first Japan-based Kickstarter too?
I don't know about
That's
that.
what I read.
I think there's been a couple of smaller projects that like are like 1 or 2 people. But I mean, like as far as like the number of people associated with the project and how many people are actually like from established games that are coming in to work on this one, I think it's like it's a first.
It's a big deal.
Definitely a big deal. So, and it's hopefully it will do well too, just to prove that JRPGs again can do it as an indie project and show the indie Japanese scene.
And least we forget, if you are wanting to hear constant updates about it, you can always follow Miss Hiroaki Yura at Hiroaki Yura on Twitter.
It's a very confusing Twitter name. I don't know if I'll remember that.
Not confusing.
I'm just kidding, because it's just his name.
Sarcasm.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Gamescom, because that's the big happening of this week. And I'm wondering, what are you guys excited about? Were there any announcements that came through Gamescom this week?
Yes, that Twitch TV, PlayStation 4. Awesome.
Twitch TV is gonna be everywhere.
No, but they're going to do the
on.
recording, and you can record your gameplay with like a push of a button.
All of the consoles are gonna have it eventually.
But I just love Sony. I love PlayStation 4.
I kind of want to
and
see.
they were really doing good on
I want to see
Gamescom.
some of these features. Like I want to see them go like, okay, it's gonna be there day one. And
So you weren't impressed with Sony at all?
everybody's saying Sony won the you know, like the press conference battle again, but I actually really liked Microsoft's. I mean, besides the fact that it was like headed by a couple of dude bros, and they talked about FIFA for the largest amount of time.
But you're getting it for free with your Xbox One, Grant.
But they actually did their conference in the round, and then they like I like the way they ended it, and they were like, okay, and then here you can check it out, and they pointed around the space where they were doing it, and they were like, over there is like FIFA, over there is, you know, like Second Son and Rise is over there, and I actually kind of liked it. It was like a little bit more personal, despite, I mean, if they had gotten different people to do it, that I would have liked better. But then again, Sony showing their user interface, we've seen hints at it. I didn't really think it was like, that was what everybody said was one Sony.
See, I didn't think the user interface was that cool, but it was more of just nice, like, okay, thank you. It doesn't look like PS3's user interface.
Yeah. That was my main thing.
That's the thank you. It looks different.
Yeah.
I don't like PS3's user interface.
Media bar.
Yeah.
XMB.
The XMB, I hate. Oh God, I hate
Which
that.
also is what the PSP used as well. It's
Now
just
they
like,
just need to get the PS Vita a new interface, and I'll be.
Yeah, I don't like the PS Vita interface either.
Yeah.
PS Vita interface is horrible. They actually missed a great opportunity to unify them because honestly, the PS Vita is powerful enough in order to handle the user interface of the PS4. I don't know why they didn't unify it.
So I think here's one of the reasons that people think Sony won is because of what Angel Damien Holguin Valencia says on the live chat, which was Sony low-blowing Microsoft again, which was basically that moment where they're like, well, we aren't going to be changing our policies.
Well, see,
Like
for me,
someone we know.
I don't care to combine or to compare the two. I want both systems. I think both systems will do something really well the other system won't do, and each system will suck at something that the other system does better.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, people who don't have a lot of money have to choose a system.
But they shouldn't choose. They should choose based on the software that's going to be exclusive
Exactly.
for that system.
And most people are. Like,
but sometimes it's the package deal.
Yeah, but
Sometimes it's not just the
Which,
game.
if somebody says like, "Oh, I'm choosing the Xbox because I can stream," or "I'm choosing the Xbox because it's going to have, you know, like some kind of compatibility with the Kinect," for example, that's like not really their. I mean, like these are people. Most people are going to be choosing it because of Halo.
You buy a
because of
game
Killzone,
console to
because of
play
Uncharted.
games.
Well-
Therefore, you should judge that game console based on the games.
I agree with you. The only thing that would make me kind of disagree was with the Xbox One's initial online only thing. To me, was such a hit with or a miss with me.
Yeah.
That it made me not want the console in general because I didn't want to have to deal with that. Even though, regardless of how good the games might have been, but
will
in
say-
general, I'd say like, look, if whichever console you think has the cooler looking games, that's the console you should get at the end of the day.
yes.
I think
Yeah.
it's just a loyalty thing. Like I just feel completely loyal to
I think
Sony.
the FIFA thing is severely underestimated. Like, I may not be the kind of person to rush out and like, oh my god, I've got to have the soccer game, but apparently EA is saying that that is a big segment of their user base, and they will go out and buy
It's
that
a
game.
huge
and not only
segment
that,
of it.
they'll buy the Xbox because they have a lot of disposable income apparently.
Look, I think as far as FIFA coming with the Xbox, I think that's more of a try to counter Sony thing because they're trying to look at what their fan base wants. FIFA's one of their best-selling titles, and they're like, look, I mean, yeah, the Sony's $100 cheaper, but you get our console and you already have FIFA, which a lot of people are going to look at and be like, oh, all right, well, that's basically $60 right there. That almost evens it out for me. I think that's a lot of what that was. But as far as the actual press conferences going, that's the only thing I'm really comparing here. I think Sony's was more exciting because they actually really had announcements in theirs. Like, hey, guess what? We're dropping PS Vita's price, which is an announcement to me. It's a cool announcement. I know you predicted that last week, Grant. I
It
know
wasn't
that.
a matter of predicting. Like I know
it was
we talked about
leaking.
it. They had actually talked about doing it at Target and other retailers beforehand, meaning it wasn't like a leak. It wasn't like an announcement. Like if retailers are starting to do like a weekly price drop like that, you can kind of get the idea that they're not only getting units for a reduced price, but that the manufacturer is signaling that the MSRP or they said the EOP, I don't know what it's referred to as in Europe, is going to be lowered. And it makes sense for that because like honestly, like that'll get that console out the door. That'll
And they
sell
also-
the remaining units.
Well,
that
they also have the big release date, which is awesome. I mean, now
Yeah.
we know.
Oh, yeah, they actually released the release date.
15th.
Released the release date.
They have,
It makes sense.
Announce it, whatever.
well, they actually the last time around they were off by a month, wasn't it? They
Oh,
had a
but that was like
significant
such a
leeway.
backlash. That was way back when.
Yeah, but that was Microsoft had a significant advantage on that because they were out the
True.
door ahead of time.
Yeah.
And people were like, okay, well, I'm not waiting around. And pre-orders were less of an issue back then. Like it was more about showing up to the big box retailer on the day of
Oh, yeah,
and getting
totally.
the console. So,
Well, I mean, the other thing with the PS3 that was so hard then was just the $600 price point.
yeah.
That was pretty brutal, regardless of. I mean, that's just so expensive. But yeah, I mean, I think Sony. Honestly, I think Sony did a good job. And I mean, for me, it was more just like. I thought after Microsoft had a poor, everyone pretty much, for the most part, agreed they had a poor E3. I thought they were going to really blow me away with something, and they announced some new game titles that were going to excite me or something like that. I was looking for new game titles, and they did announce Fable.
Yeah.
That was going to be
And it looks
exclusive.
cool.
Yes.
And it looks cool, but I mean, again, I'm like, all right, well, I kind of figured Fable's always been Xbox only. That's not surprising to me. I was hoping for a new IP announcement. That was what I was
I'm happy with a
looking
new
for.
Fable, though. I am a huge Fable
They
fan.
have actually a strong.
How many marriages are you going to have?
I usually try to have one in every city.
And how many of them are you going to kill?
Well, this is a
Oh, I
different
love
game,
killing
right?
my wife. Yeah.
This is a different type of game, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a different type. It's like a 4-player co-op game that they're announcing it
Like
as.
Fable Heroes, that
No
was
marriages.
shit.
No marriages.
It's
No
not.
marriages, no STDs.
No.
I don't think it's gonna be like Fable Heroes, but it's not gonna be like one of your typical like Fable 4. Right? It's not like Fable 4. I
That's
don't
what
think.
I want.
But actually, I
Because
will say
Fable's
this.
co-op sucks. It's always
Well, that's-
sucked.
maybe
I
this'll-
don't want
maybe
a
this'll remedy
co-op
it.
Fable game.
Well, I don't. Is Peter Molyneux? I don't think he's actually gonna be working on it anymore, is he?
No, he's working on his other stuff.
So I mean, that'll be a big difference too with these ones as well.
This is a Microsoft Games, I think.
I want a new Real Fable game.
A real Fable game.
Yeah.
I did like the
Nintendo didn't have anything either, really, at E3.
I did like Microsoft.
I mean, Gamescom.
Collection of games because they were like Rise, and then they showed off Infamous Second Son, and they debuted a new trailer for that, and they showed off like the Fable game and everything. Like I think that when I look at it, is like which console is going to have like the strongest collection of content for me. They're pretty equal. Like
Yeah, we're not going to know until a year or two in is when the real big hitting first party games come out.
And then
So I just
PS4
wanted to
has a
see a
couple
new
more
IP
indie
announced.
titles.
Honestly, for both of them, I wanted to see a new IP announced because that was like to me like, oh, Microsoft's announcing for the first time ever they're having a Gamescom press conference in forever. I was like, oh, hopefully. New IP.
Just want a new Uncharted. I don't care.
Joseph Boza saying, how ironic is the timing of Sony's announcement to drop the prices of their systems, knowing that in a couple months is the start of the Christmas shopping season.
Well, I just don't
Very
think
true.
the PS Vita is not doing well anyway.
Starting earlier and earlier this year. I'm
Yeah.
surprised it hasn't
Yeah.
started already.
PS Vita.
I agree with you. I think PS Vita is because the PS Vita is not doing well, so
Yeah.
they have to do something. As far as the PS3 goes, it's because they're releasing the PS4, and so they have to say like, hey, well, if you're buying a PS4, why not also buy a super cheap PS3?
Why do they keep trying to do a handheld? I mean, Sony's handhelds have never done good. They had the PSP, then they had the PSP
They
Go.
have
Because
holdouts.
well, they keep trying because they want it to do good.
It's not gonna do
I mean,
well,
the 3DS
Sony.
does so well, but they want to
Handhelds,
bite
all
into
about
that market
Nintendo.
somehow.
Give it
How?
up. It's not going to work.
You tried my
Nintendo.
PS Vita for a couple weeks. How did
Yeah,
you like it?
I like the PS Vita. I liked it.
Throw away the crappy user interface.
Let me,
you have to buy
okay,
it,
let me say I liked it, but I like the 3DS more.
Yeah.
So that's, but it's more of a games thing. That's really what it is. As Rachel said, games are key. For me, there are so many games out on the 3DS that I like, and so it's such a huge backlog of awesome DS games that I would just, if I had a choice of which to buy, I would choose 3DS. Now, if I had more money, yeah, the PS Vita has some great games. And I would definitely say and recommend there are good games on PS Vita. It's worth buying.
Yeah.
But there are more games to me personally worth buying on the 3DS.
Absolutely.
So-
Plus with the PS,
Absolutely.
with the Sony and their handhelds, what they have a big problem with is just kind of, how do I explain it? They take games that are already on PSN or on the PS3, and then they just kind of bleed the fun out of it and then put it on the PS Vita. They
Yeah.
take all the fun stuff, they condense it down. It's like taking a really pretty picture and then compressing the hell out of it and then using it as a wallpaper.
What the hell? Have you played any games on it? I
I
actually
have
enjoy
a
my
Vita.
PS Vita.
I have a Vita, and it's
but you've
worthless.
admitted that you haven't
It's
started it up in a
worthless.
while.
I haven't. There's been nothing in that I need.
well, then
Even
how do
with
you know what
Borderlands
games-
2, even with Borderlands 2, I've already had it on my 360. I've played it twice on my 360. Why the hell do I want a smaller little version of Borderlands
Here's
2
why.
on my handheld?
Because even you have to use the bathroom.
no,
Ah, the bathroom.
That's
console.
why.
Yeah.
the only boys take
like,
games
"Girls
into the
don't
bathroom.
poop."
That's not true.
Oh well, that's
I'm gross.
crazy.
That is why. That is my reasoning for it. But I will say, like, Sly Cooper, I played on the PS Vita.
Yeah.
And
In the bathroom.
no, because it was Grant's PS Vita, I wouldn't do that. But
Thank you.
That he knows of.
I also played Soul Sacrifice on the PS Vita. Now, Soul Sacrifice was more of a worthy investment to me because Sly Cooper, the graphics really were that much better and more
Yeah.
gorgeous on the PS3 that unless you want to spend that little bit extra, less money on the game, it's probably better just to buy it for the PS3.
Well, I enjoyed playing Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I just recently finished playing Dragon's Crown on that, and it's like a great system to take that experience with me.
I still want to
And I
play
haven't-
Dragon's Crown, honestly. I know you didn't like it that much. I still want to play
Everybody
it.
tells me I need to play it. And I
Not
need to play
Grant.
it.
He won't tell you that.
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody else is like,
you
I gotta
can
play it.
but it's like over pretty quickly, like for the engagement. Huh. But then again, it has a price point to match,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to argue.
Interesting.
All
Right
right.
now, I'm just playing the shit out of Saints Row 4.
The
Yeah.
shit out of it. All right. Well, that kind of wraps up a lot of Gamescom, and we'll get to a little bit more of it in the quick hits. But let's go ahead and talk about some quotes from around the industry going around this week. And this is kind of a quote I liked from Notch. So Notch is trying to balance creating in the spotlight, and I think this is something we've been seeing a lot with indie developers recently, that pressure of being on the spotlight. And here's a quote from Notch, who had been working on OX 10C, and he then iced it. And he says, OX10C was quite ambitious, but I was fairly sure I could pull it off. And besides, if I failed, so what? A lot of my prototypes fail way before they get anywhere at all. Well, what I hadn't considered was that a lot more people care about my games now. People get incredibly excited, and the pressure of suddenly having people care if the game got made or not started zapping the fun out of the project. And I think
Then
that's
he's got to keep it quiet.
That totally makes sense. Though.
Yeah.
He can easily keep these quiet, and like
Yep.
honestly, like if one of these things fails because of over anticipation, that's completely his fault. And he's even
Yep.
separated
But can he
himself.
really easily keep it quiet?
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's separated himself.
You have to be Nintendo.
Like he's a complete. He's a separate entity from I call it Mojang. I don't call it Mojang. I noticed that.
Isn't it Mojang? I thought it was
I don't know
Mojang.
if you noticed the
It's something Scandinavian. Who cares?
The press conference for Microsoft, the guy was like Mojang, and I'm like, what the hell? Like I don't know. It's my own personal preference, I guess.
Part of the plan.
But he separated himself, so like he's not everybody at Mojang needs to know what he's working on. Like he can work on something in a small team, his like normal everyday team, and they are well known for being like a tight knit, like loyal group of people. So I don't think he would have a problem keeping a game secret if he needed to.
Yeah, I guess sometimes it's just like maybe he gets like constantly like, what are you working on? What are you working on? What are you working on for like a year? Maybe he's like, oh well, here's a picture just to satisfy like all these people trying to get at him.
Bitten off a bit more than he can chew. He has the Minecon, he has the super party that he does every two or three times a year. Like he's created such a beast around Minecraft that anybody that is looking towards him for the next game is expecting something
like that.
at least close to Minecraft.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to exceed it, but they're looking to see something that has like millions
Just as
of people
creative,
played.
just as fun, just as
and
addictive.
that's his problem. Like that's probably
the
depressing.
problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's that double-edged sword, because I mean, like when you create something like Minecraft, you get that, and I'm sure for him, I mean, he probably feels like he has to keep up with the Minecraft people and to satisfy all of his fans there. But at the same time, he has to try and figure out how to balance that, because on his mind, I'm sure what he really wants to do is completely forget Minecraft and move on to something
But
new.
most of the people
I
that have
bet
been
he doesn't care
successful-
about Minecraft at all, except for trying to satisfy his fans.
He's left it
Yeah.
basically in Mojang's hands, but most of the people that have been as successful as him have basically gone off the radar and then begun work on their next project.
Yeah.
You cannot work on your next project, especially if it's a new IP or something completely revolutionary, with all those millions of fans poking their head over your shoulder, or like giving their input. And I think he's realizing that, and I think it's probably like it's a good idea that he says he's scrapping it, whether or not he is or not, and then just like kind of like working a little bit more.
Well, I think he's going to keep on separating himself from Minecraft, honestly, in the future, because I think like Minecon, stuff like that, he'll probably keep up once a year.
He's going to start working
But
on
I think he's going to keep on pushing away from Minecraft everything Minecraft, so he can actually work on what for him is enjoyable.
Minecraft Sphere Edition or something. I don't know.
I love that.
I'm sorry, I'm also just laughing at the live chat. Scaly asks if I take games in the bathroom. Yes, I think I've said that in the show several times
Many
with my
times.
3DS.
Yeah, there's no question whether
No
or not
question.
a significant portion of our gaming is in the restroom.
And Dark Souls, no. And Angel says if one could take Dark Souls to the bathroom, he definitely would.
He'd be there all day.
I probably wouldn't
All
leave.
day.
Well, especially if it was like on the Wii U, because then you could switch it to the Wii U gamepad.
Right. I just order food. I'd order takeout and live in the bathroom.
That's the complete cycle of life. Takes place inside the bathroom.
Yeah, this is all right. Let's move on to another topic. The future of games, according to David Cage, he believes the future of games is more meaning.
Did you see that?
What does that mean?
More meaning.
Wait a minute, I'm searching for this here.
That's what more meaning means. The meaning of everything is Nicolas Cage.
That is true. That's a fact.
Put it in the right file according to alphabetical order.
For people listening, this is the Nicolas Cage compilation of Nicolas Cage just losing his shit constantly.
I can't wait for him to
What does it mean? Okay, so here's the actual quote from David Cage.
Cut it.
So the actual quote from David Cage is, you'll hear a lot of people telling you the future of games is technology. is more polygons. I've been clamoring for years that the future of games is emotion. 6-7 years ago, people were laughing at me saying, no, the future of games is shooting. But now first-person shooters are saying if we can have emotions and good characters, it's a better game, and they're right. The future of games is emotion, of course, but it's also meaning. Can we create games that have something to say? Games that will leave an imprint on you, that will change you even a tiny bit. Now I'm looking at John's meme that he put up. John, you're ruining the show. This is all stuff that doesn't mean anything anymore.
I want to give that away for Valentine's this year.
I'm sure he'll say
That's what my Valentines are going to look like.
I'm sorry, I saw Cage, and that's where my mind went. So it's get it all out of everybody. All your Nicolas Cage jokes, get it out of the way.
All right, let's move on to actual gaming stuff, though.
Did you see that David put what is it, Shuei Yoshida to sleep during the PlayStation Q&A at Gamescom?
Wait, what?
No.
There's a panel of people developing for the PlayStation, and during the Q&A at Gamescom, all the way on the left, Shuei Yoshida is sitting there, and he's just like nodding off.
Aww.
And I mean, honestly, these people are living on a compacted schedule. They're out of their country of origin and where they live, so they're probably jet lagged and everything. I could see how he just falls asleep randomly.
I totally get that.
But
yeah.
We have to admit, at some points when David Cage gets on a rant and rolls and starts talking about emotion and emoting in a game and how pixels and polygons and all that stuff, he's not the best person to keep you engaged.
Here's the other thing. Well, here's the other thing about David Cage too.
David Cage.
So his big game is Heavy Rain, which is actually kind of controversial in the game industry.
That is not the future of gaming, because God, that game put me to sleep.
Right. So I mean, the thing is, Rachel's point of view is he's kind of actually a controversial figure. I mean, his next game, Beyond Two Souls,
or Sleepy.
A sleepy character. But I mean, Beyond Two Souls is basically has the same syndrome that Heavy Rain has. So I mean, to me, it's like if Beyond Two Souls.
And you and I played it at E3, and I was just like
disappointed.
Yeah. So I mean,
quick time events the game.
Sleepy time.
You can create a world that you feel like you're in complete control of, and characters you're in complete control of, and emotionally engaged
without it being a high-def version of Ellen Page.
Yeah, I don't need that.
I need Ellen Page looking at me like she's grimacing with dealing with the demon in her head.
See, the thing is, I agree with him to an extent. I agree with him to the point of, yes, emotion's great. I'd like to see, and I like the actors. It's really cool what he's doing in that front. But at the same time,
don't waste 2 games conferences putting developers and fans to sleep talking about how you're going to revolutionize it. Just get to it.
Well, I was going to say the thing is that you look at Heavy Rain, and I actually did enjoy Heavy Rain, but it's just a different type of game to me, and it's not really much of a game.
To create emotion around characters and story, it's dialogue. You've got to have great dialogue, and that's why people attach themselves to Naughty Dog characters with Uncharted and Last of Us.
I didn't attach myself to any Naughty Dog characters.
I would say Dragon Age Origins, I became very emotionally invested in all of the characters in the game, and it was all because of the dialogue.
Well, speaking of the Naughty Dog characters, and we're going to get to this eventually, but the creator of Shadows of the Colossus actually referenced how awesome Last of Us was and how great they did making the characters someone you would care for emotionally.
Yeah.
But I do want to say, though, to me, I feel like
writing,
I feel like he's correct in saying that the future of games is meaning, but I don't think he's going about it in the right way per se. And I do like what he's doing, and I give him props for that. But to me, the future is games like Braid. That they brought into meaning in the game in a gameplay-oriented way, where they incorporated the gameplay and what video games can do that nobody else can do. And he's kind of toting we have to take it from movies, and movies are the future, and taking from that. And I'm like, you can have that experience, and that's fine. But I really think the future of games and revolutionizing what games can do is something like Braid. To me, that is revolutionary.
Storytelling. I think it's better storytelling.
It is storytelling, but it's using games and what games can do that nobody else can do to tell stories.
Just talking about we're gonna be able to get Hollywood actors to come in and act out the best way.
I don't need that.
But honestly, there's some bad Hollywood actors, and putting them into any situation is not going to rectify all your problems.
Yeah, it could actually turn us off too.
Yeah, it could really seriously detract from that. And I think that games are a little bit more difficult because you decide on someone like that at the beginning of a project, and you have to stick with them. It's happened once or twice, but when was really honestly the last time that you can remember a person who's done a voice for a game all the way through and they decide to change them out, or a character model?
Metal Gear Solid.
Yes, well, that's a good example. Once or twice.
So Joseph Bosef on the chat saying about Beyond Two Souls is he heard about it and it was boring as hell. I've seen some gameplay and it did put me to sleep. I agree with Rachel. It had hype. It sucks. Hayden Gorge saying, I think casting Ellen Page as the main character and using her face was stupid. Isn't the point of a story-based game is you can have a character that looks like anything using anyone's voice? It's not a movie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that you can have both. I think that both can exist. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because one is you're telling a story about other people, and one experience is you're telling a story about you, and you are experiencing it. So I think you can have both.
The problem with using her face is, since she's not just a video game character, she's Ellen Page, I associate her face with so many different movies and so many different characters.
All of her previous characters to the Beyond Two Souls
distracting.
game, and it's like I'm feeling like.
I think of Hard Candy, and it makes me constantly cover my privates because I'm afraid. I'm very afraid.
Really? It gives me a throbbing heart
Juno or whatever. Is that her in Juno?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think
she's in Juno.
teen pregnancy and sassiness, not like like
Castration?
Well, hopefully she's an actress, so she'll do a good job acting. I mean, that's the hope, is she's an actress and she'll bring a new character to life.
She is a good actress, but still, I can't see past that. I can't see past Ellen Page in this game.
You know, that's something that games have allowed us to do, is like completely changing someone's look. Like a voice actor embodying a character, like melts away. I don't look at Nolan North and think Nolan North is every man. Like I feel like he brings the character.
Right.
He brings the character that the game's designers designed.
Rachel's swooning so hard right now.
Nolan North is actually really attractive.
Nolan North.
Even if he wasn't Drake.
I mean, it's actually what you bring up, Grant, as a cool point, too, because something that David Cage had talked about was how, the future is that it used to take 10 people to create one character, but now we have an actor or actress embodying an entire character. And to me, I'm like, you know what, though? I mean, you can do that, and that's fine, but I think it was kind of cool that you had a 10-person team that it took to create one character, because you have so many different inputs into how one person
create something brand new.
Yes.
Right.
Nathan Drake is not a person. He's a combination of a couple people's efforts.
Luke Pryor commenting that it's Juno all over. I don't know. I mean, hopefully to me she'll do a good job. She'll do a good enough job acting that we can separate the two. But let's go ahead and talk about our gaming moments of the week. And John, I hope you have mine ready to queue up, because I'm going to drop mine right now. It's actually from you guys. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are the best. Last week, Rachel and I both talked about these games that we played as kids that we couldn't remember the names of, that were killing us and destroying us.
I played Dark Souls as a kid.
I played Dark Souls as a kid somehow. I went Back to the Future. Yes, I like that you're referencing that, because this game probably came out in the 80s, actually, or early 90s. But there's a game that I played, the game that I talked about, where I thought you played as a ninja, and I swear to God, I thought I'd found this game.
No, this isn't fake. This is fake, isn't it?
No, it's not fake.
I totally thought this was fake. I saw this on YouTube.
I thought I played this game when I was a kid. I mean, never mind. I thought I looked up this game before.
Dragon Ball.
And I thought, John, skip to like 2 minutes in if you could. But like, I thought, I looked up this game before and I thought it was the wrong game. But Ryan Rosner pointed it out. Ryan Rosner on YouTube, thank you so much. Jackie Chan Action Kung Fu is the game, and re-looking at it after he pointed it out, because I'd actually looked at it before and thought it was wrong. I think he's right. I think this is the game. Go to about 4 minutes in, because there's a point where he's hopping on turtles, and to me that was the moment where it's like, oh my God, this is the game that I couldn't remember that I played when I was a kid.
It looks like Super Island.
Maybe like 6 minutes in. Okay, I remember. So this is the cave I talked about last week. I was like, you're in a cave at one point, and then like I think like 6 minutes in,
you kick frogs in.
A little bit before this, I think, or a little bit after this. A little bit after this, he's on the cloud.
From the frogs.
Those poor things. Poor frogs.
But yeah, here he's jumping on lava. John's just kind of like skipping through for me. Actually, it's before this. Sorry, it's before the lava.
Okay.
Anyways, this is my moment of the week, because the fact that
It's cool.
the fact that Ryan Rosner, you pointed out to me the game that I've been looking for like literally 10 years.
I love the look on the statue's face.
I know.
Like literally for 10 years, I've been trying to find this game, and I think that this is it. So Ryan Rosner, you're a pimp, man. You're the best. So thank you guys. You guys rock. All you guys on Game Chat, all you guys on who comment, you guys rock socks.
Rock socks.
Rock socks off. So that's my moment of the week.
Did they find my game?
Not yet. Rachel, describe your game again. Hopefully someone will find it this week.
It was on a PlayStation 1, and it was like an Olympics kind of game. But one of the best parts was you would climb up these rocks, and then you would dive into the water, and you would do these like combos as you dove into the water.
So
it's like SSX, but for Olympics.
Are there multiple mini games in the game?
There were tons of different Olympic mini games, like running and hurdling.
It's an amalgamation
but
of
the
Olympic
best
games to the PS1.
was diving.
But a lot of those PS1 titles also came out on PC, right? Was it a repurposed title?
I don't know. But I remember the rocks. It was a side view, so you had the jagged rocks like this, and your little guy would be like, pew.
So we need to find this. Guys, get on it.
Bring it back next week.
All right, so Kaori, what is your moment of the week?
All right, guys. So at Gamescom, they were playing with one of my, well, actually my favorite wrestler right now, Antonio Cesaro, introduced a play of, do you have my YouTube, by the way?
Athletes they are, really.
Me and this?
Yes, this. So he's hanging out. He's so hot. He's my favorite. That's
Wait a minute,
him.
put your dog up there at the same time and be like, oh, cute.
It is my dog's birthday today, guys. So yeah, he's at Gamescom. He was at Gamescom with fans playing the game, introducing himself, and I thought that was awesome. And they also explained that they're gonna have 30 years of WrestleMania on WWE 2K14. So I am very excited about this game coming out very, very soon.
Play all the wrestlers.
I wish I was at Gamescom just to meet the man, Antonio Cesaro. And all these guys are lucky. So that was my
Too
game
far. It's
really.
just Germany, you know.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
too
I
far
mean,
away.
I can get on your jet.
I do like seeing the Hulk and the.
Isn't this awesome?
Andre the Giant.
And Andre the
30
Giant.
years of
Because
WrestleMania.
like those are like I stopped watching wrestling after I was a kid, but to me those are like the guys I think of. They're like Andre the Giant and the Hulk and Ultimate Warrior was my favorite.
Well, those are the best
Flair.
years. Those are the best years.
Foley.
So, yeah, very excited about this stuff, and I want to see more of Cesaro and less of the fans, but
Yeah.
Fans out here.
Well, it's cool. They've been doing a great job advertising this game.
Yeah.
They've really been pushing this one out.
we should
so
have a game night, and we can
hopefully
play this.
we should have a game night. Me
Tag
too.
team wrestling.
Yeah.
4 players.
Yeah.
All right, Grant.
My gaming.
What's yours?
We never said that our gaming moment of the week had to be like positive, right?
No.
Okay, cool.
Well, I mean,
My
sometimes it's
gaming
like
moment of the week is Precursor Games. Unfortunately, canceling didn't meet their Kickstarter goal for the second time.
oh yeah,
Funding
no.
Shadow of the
I just saw that
Eternals.
today.
So sad. So sad.
The reason that it's my gaming moment of the week, and I heard John go like, "Oh no!" behind in the booth. The reason why is because I think that this will allow them to repurpose the title and like bring it out there are a bunch of developers hopefully working on their next project, and I think that this will get signal to them. It's like you can't bring it to the fans in this fashion. You either don't have the audience or doesn't have as a wide appeal to bring in a new set of fans. The Project Phoenix, 9,000 supporters. Precursor Games, quite a bit less.
I was thinking about that contrast when I was like looking up Project Phoenix stuff and how well it's been doing. I think the other thing too is they set their initial goal low, so it's already succeeded, but now it's starting to head towards that $1 million because they've already succeeded. And people want to see those stretch goals, and they're like, well, the game's already happening, hooray! So maybe that was a good way to do it.
I think that they need to take a little bit more. When the controversy, when they pulled it down, when they repurposed the game from like 12 episodes to like
It was
just
half the amount that it raised for the first time.
And when also the child pornography scandal.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to take like more than just a month or two as a break to come back, and they came back like the next month. I was like, okay, come on, just take a knee, work on something else, work on Shadow of the Eternals in the background, like develop your art and everything, and then come to Kickstarter and regain the money back.
Yeah, because they only got half of it this time
and
around.
he was saying they had funding lined up. Like he said, to have $2 million of investment. This is from the first Kickstarter proposal. He said he had $2 million of independent. Use that $2 million, get something that's actionable, and then come back in 6 months.
Now,
that's all I'm saying.
Here's the other thing about them that came out that I don't know how true this is, but there's a speculation that the guy who's heading Eternal Darkness 2, he was working on a game with Silicon Knights and was taking the money that they were getting to go under the table
This
to
is part of the controversy surrounding Precursor Games.
create it.
Is that
and he basically screwed over the people funding him, just like Borderlands 2.
As their original company failed, they left the company ahead of time and bought the assets out from underneath the failing company. Now, this is not unprecedented, but it does set this kind of like bait and switch. Like as employees are still working, as people are still trying to succeed, like they're buying out the stuff from underneath it at a reduced cost and basically leaving the shell of the company behind to go and, I mean, again, it's not unprecedented. Plenty of companies do this, but it's just,
but just in light of all the controversy too.
The controversy that surrounded them, they need to get away from that controversy. They need to basically hit the reset button. They don't need to drop Precursor Games, but maybe coming out with a sequel to a title that they're so well known for may not be the best idea. Come out with something a little smaller or work on it.
If you've already been working on this for so long, then you'd be losing money. But Rachel, what is your moment of the week?
Saints Row 4.
Ah, of course.
Everything about it. It's amazing. It's so much fun. It's like this awesome
Dude, that
hybrid.
webgun looks awesome.
Oh god. It's like this awesome hybrid of Saints Row and Crackdown. Like you get the crazy running
There's
speed.
a little bit of Just Cause in there for like it's a little bit more Just Cause this time around. Just like
it's
the
more like
craziness that you can do.
because you can run up the sides of
The
buildings.
superpowers.
You can like do super jumps and you can glide. And they've got the tops of buildings have these like orbs basically like from Crackdown, and you just run all over the city jumping on the buildings getting them, and then you have to chase these golden orbs that kind of look like that thing from Harry Potter. And
I'm all about
just,
Harry Potter.
I think they call it a snitch or something from Harry Potter, and you have to run around and chase it. It's just such a good game. I love it.
Have you seen the Grand Theft Auto 5? Some of them are creating like memes against Saints Row 4, like thinking about how just the community of Grand Theft Auto 5. Response, retort.
No, I think Saints Row has done everything right, and I think Grand Theft Auto's bled the fun out of its series.
You know, I gotta tell you, Rachel.
You're bleeding fun twice this episode.
I know. I love it.
Theta bleeds the fun out of the game.
I love
Grand Theft Auto bleeds the fun out of stuff.
It does. Grand Theft Auto has gotten so far.
Say it about me.
You bleed the fun out of this show. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You know,
if anybody else is interested, I mean, here is the video of.
It's so happy. How could you not like be like, oh, it's fun?
you know,
I'm
Rachel.
even wearing a shirt that says "I love rim jobs."
Happiness right there.
I do have to tell you, Rachel.
And you cut that shirt. That shirt did not come in that fashion.
Yes, it did. No, my shirt was, it's a Saints Row 3 shirt, and they were giving them away at E3, and it says, I love rim jobs, which is the name of the mechanic store in the
gun
game.
is so tiny compared to
It's
the one
not
that you get in the gun in the game.
Look,
like easily
Grant, it's not about how tiny it is, it's about how you use it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's how you use those rim jobs.
That gun is awesome. The game is awesome. And my character runs around in like
Character's
jeans,
awesome.
shorts, and she's topless. So I love the
Doesn't
game.
bleed the fun out of anything.
No, absolutely not. It breathes the fun into the game.
You know, I will say this about the Saints Row series. Any series that can make Yahtzee, that complete and utter curmudgeon of the internet, like totally wet himself with excitement and joy, obviously is doing something right.
I do want to say, Rachel, too, I honestly could not give two rats' asses about Saints Row until you started hyping it up every week.
You gotta play
And now I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of like on bandwagon Saints Row after everything you've been talking about it. So you definitely like hyped it up for me.
What is that?
It's a rat's ass.
Oh, you gotta try it. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. It's violent. There's so much sexual stuff in it. It's just,
Have you
it's
played
so
it?
great.
Yes.
Show it to your kids.
You should mod
Don't show it to your
Play it with your kids.
I'm not playing on the PC. I'm playing
It's
on Xbox.
family bonding.
I always want you to mod things. That's like.
Oh yeah. No. I'd rather create a Saints Row mod for Skyrim.
Yes. That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and talk about a bunch of quick hit stories. So a bunch of news from some of the big games from 2011 and their sequels. So Elder Scrolls Online will be month-to-month fees they have announced. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Because a lot of games have been going away from that.
When I first
Over 1 million people that have signed up for their like the beta and everything.
because it's so exciting.
Yeah, there's
and
a
I
lot of
was at
excitement.
first I was actually very upset to hear about it, but then you read the article and it makes sense. They
Yeah.
want to have quality service, and so it's a lot though. $15 a month is kind of a lot.
How much is World of Warcraft at the moment for month to month?
Free to play. Up until like a certain level.
There's a lot of free to play being handed out with World of Warcraft,
Yeah.
but I think it's what is it, $12.99 or $13.99?
I find this
It's up to a certain
incredibly
level. Once you get to a
disappointing.
certain level, then it goes subscription based.
Yeah.
So we have the Rich on the chat. The Rich automatically going boo
Yeah,
about this.
It is boo, but I think I might still get it.
Here's the thing to me.
I don't know.
And this
I don't know.
This is the way they justified it: is charging a flat monthly or subscription fee means that we will offer players the game we set out to make, and the ones that fans want to play. Going with any other model meant that we'd have to make sacrifices and changes we weren't willing to make. We don't want the player to worry about which parts of the game to pay for, which our system they get it all. But I have to say though,
They've got tons of money.
But-
They don't need more.
but
And they're going to get tons of money from the sales.
Yeah,
but
you
to-
could have
and
argued that
maybe that's why
Blizzard
they're
had
waiting for
tons of
another
money when they
I don't
started
know.
World of Warcraft.
$15 a month is
a lot.
kind of a lot.
Well, the first month is free.
I will say
Doesn't
this.
matter. That's a lot of money.
I don't think it's time to I think that a lot of companies are completely shying away from the subscription model. It's going to leave an absence in people subscribing to a multiplayer, but as World of Warcraft has proven, people are still subscribing.
Okay, here, so the rich
make the transition a little
but
bit.
it's because you've already dedicated 200 years to it.
New games that come out don't need to be right from the get-go.
But World of Warcraft is one of those 1 in a million time of things happening. Like Minecraft is. You usually don't get that kind of success. World of Warcraft had success that they didn't ever see coming. Nobody saw that success coming.
Yeah.
But you can make money off of MMOs extremely easily without doing a subscription based.
Crack.
Like Guild Wars 2. I was actually one of the first games I actually spent in-game money on, or real money for in-game items. And
but I only ever
would never pay
1 month worth of subscription fees compared to what I
would never pay a month-to-month pay to play Elder Scrolls Online. Not going to happen.
So the Rich saying that he's in the beta, right? The beta. Rich is in the beta right now, and it's really not that bad, but he wouldn't pay for it. So that's like a month-to-month fee. And I'm kind of mixed on this because I think that the thing I hate about free-to-play is that it does make it so players who pay are going to be better because they're going to get better items, and it takes away from me proper gameplay mechanics of creating a game. So at least with a month-to-month fee, you can take that out. But then I refuse to play an MMO game that has a subscription fee because I don't want to pay $15 a month. When I buy a game, I want to own it.
You can even it out.
In the chat, don't worry. 6 months, maybe a year.
But you can even
they're going to drop it. I totally think they will.
You can even it out for free to play, but usually that means putting even more of a time investment on, which I don't like as a gameplay model.
I think Guild Wars does it really, really well. And plus, since for me, I'm not taking any of my items into a PvP match or anything like that. It's just for me to run around and farm with. And
how many people did you say subscribe to it already?
Well, they have opened the beta, or 1 point something, 1.2 or 1.5 million people have shown interest in it.
It's a lot.
So Scaly Aragon asking Grant, why do you always got to pick on Raychul?
Yeah.
And maybe this is why in Scaly's story, Yura written is like going against the group.
He picks on everybody.
I'm not gonna let. I'm not gonna go with the flow. I'll at the very least I'll offer a contrasting opinion every once in a while.
As Scaly, we're going ahead and throwing out. Scaly's been writing a fun story, and she has a bunch of us in it, as in all of us in her story. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Scaly.
There's Toby in there as well. There's a lot of other internet personalities.
Oh, is that who that is?
I would have assumed.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
That's funny.
So, all right.
I went head to head with him. I was like, dude, I'm not following your team.
You're insane.
I
couldn't find the beginning of the story. I came in on one of you guys' links.
You have to go back.
What's the first? What I went back and there was it was named by chapters. I don't know which one's the first.
It's called Chapter 1.
What? I didn't see that.
It's called Chapter 1.
Really?
That's okay.
Okay,
though.
someone's gonna have to link me to Chapter 1 because I didn't see that.
That's okay.
She'll put it in the
Some of us can't read. It's okay.
No.
So let's talk
Tweet
about
it to me.
Let's talk about the seedy underbelly of online games. Kind of an article that came out. This is really about online games in general, but League of Legends kind of brought this to the forefront. And we're finding out that apparently in 2011 there were 120,000 transaction records that contained hashed and salted credit card numbers and such that were accessed. So, and that's because of that free-to-play model. And that's wise because people automatically have to store their credit card information or debit card information so they can buy an item off the whim. And that's starting to get hacked into. And I mean, really, I wouldn't call this necessarily League of Legends false. This is just hackers being douchebags as they constantly are. But it's just kind of an upcoming issue that we're finding light on. And I mean, we've known about hackers for a long time, but just be careful with free to play is really what a lot of this is about.
They're always going to be around, no matter what we have going on in the world. They'll be there.
We need to move to a centralized or to a more temporary form of payment for these online games. Like I am.
But how would that work?
I am done with giving my credit card information to Microsoft and Sony and Riot and Guild Wars, and then hoping that over the course of however long my credit card information is actually valid, that they don't get hacked. I would much rather enter my information, my login information for a third-party service like PayPal, have them take out the money, and then be done with it, and they don't store anything. Because honestly, PayPal is much better with security than these companies that come out with their first-time microtransactions.
I did too.
There's a class action against PayPal at one point, but hopefully they're figuring their
honestly,
stuff out.
their track record is better than the combative efforts from the gaming industry.
Someone hacked my credit card, they'd be so disappointed.
Microsoft, Sony, and EVE Online,
I mean,
Riot, they've all had problems with security and lost customer information and salted passwords and
I mean, I think pretty much most places are. I mean, it's just the hackers are going to figure out what workarounds. It's just don't store your credit card information is the key.
You're going to find me, like, in any of these new generation games, I'm going to target buying a game card with cash.
Yeah,
as opposed
that's
to
that's actually one of the recommendations that was thrown out is buy a cash card. But Maniac, going back to Elder Scrolls real quick, Maniac Garth X saying that he just doesn't like paying month to month. I'll pay for it if it goes free to play, and then he probably would.
Pay for it if you
and Joseph Boza play it. But I assume pay for the initial $60 copy of the game. That's why I usually don't like. That's why. See, that's why I usually don't like buying it. Is because like I don't want to pay $60 to buy the game and then pay $15 every month after that.
$60 to buy the game. Even though I got a month fee, I paid another 3 months after that because they were giving like some kind of guaranteed benefits.
Yeah.
And by the time my 3 months were up, they had gone to like free to play.
Yeah.
So I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, so just wait on it.
Yeah, I was excited for it, but I will not be playing it now.
My problem is I don't think I'll be able to wait.
So Joseph Boza is saying $15 is too much for an online subscription. That's bullshit.
True.
Sorry. He says that like normal prices for subscriptions are no more than $10 maybe.
Yeah,
so he just thinks it's too much.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you have like 1 million people paying even $5 a month,
$5 million.
that's $5 million. I mean, like that's a
Yeah.
lot. So I mean, it is a kind of ridiculous when you think about it that way. This is a real announcement for you, Grant. By the way, this is a real announcement. It's not like so.
Would you, Fiend, like in all seriousness, would you play a?
Oh God.
Oh, I think that's about me in Dark Souls 2. Thanks. Yeah.
Would you play a beta ruining the game ahead of time? Would you?
Well, I mean, I played a demo. I played a build of it at E3.
Yeah,
so I mean, that ruins the game. Well, okay. So the thing about this beta is that it's only taking you through one specific area, so they can test the PvP of the game,
Yes, I see what
and they
you're
can test the PvE.
Yeah, I'm sitting right next to him.
Is that Meg Ryan?
This is what's going on in my head, by the way. This is my headspace right now, and John's headspace too.
Apparently so.
So this is my headspace most of the time, actually. Anyways, so basically they're having you test one specific area, and I'm kind of mixed on it. I would want to play it, I would, but I mean, as someone who constantly comments on Dark Souls 2, apparently my YouTube is now doing pretty well for Dark Souls stuff. All of a sudden, I don't know how that happened, but it is.
Good, so go check it out.
But I think if I played it, you probably have to sign a non-disclosure and say that you're not allowed to talk about it. So I almost wouldn't want to, because I'm someone who constantly comments on things and I wouldn't be allowed to talk about it. So I kind of screw myself over if I did the Dark Souls 2 beta.
Yeah.
But for myself, I'd want to play it because I love the game, and I'd want to play it for myself. So
well, people would be. It's like people are streaming a lot of these betas now. Like people are streaming Elder Scrolls stuff and everything.
They didn't allow you to do anything in E3. You weren't allowed to take footage of the game.
Yeah.
They haven't. There was only one specific place with the gameplay. I highly doubt they'll let people stream or even talk about the Dark Souls 2 beta.
I could agree.
Highly doubt. It's only open for 1 day. There's only 1 day the beta is going to be open, or 2 days in October, and that's it.
I always miss those, the open betas. It's like, the open beta's on the weekend. It's like, I do shit on the weekend. I don't know about any of you. Like, I'd rather have it last a week.
Well, maybe it is a week. It says it's scheduled to begin on October 5th, but I know it's really short. But let's move on to some other Japanese talk. Yes, Dark Souls Control Live. That is what this is now. Thanks, Angel. So The Last Guardian, some confirmation. It's still in development. So in an interview with Famitsu,
we're never gonna get it.
Fumita Ueda was just interviewed in Famitsu about various things, including The Last Guardian. And he's like, yeah, we're still working on it. We're still hard at work about it.
Why not?
Why can't they just come out? I want The Last Guardian.
Here's the
It's
problem.
no skin off his back. It's like, no big deal. Yeah, it's still
The hype has been around it for so long that no matter what it is, when it comes out, it's not going to be as good as
so
the
remember us talking about how earlier in the show, let's go way back and rewind to the beginning of the show when we were talking about Notch and having issues with that giant expectation. I wonder if Fumita Ueda is having issues with the giant expectation that's got to be behind The Last Guardian.
But it's been like how many years? Notch is dealing with the fact that like millions of people are playing his games right now.
And it sounds like he's talking about The Last of Us 2 in this, and talks about, and this was, I believe, Polygon had an article about it, but I mean, it was with Famitsu. So it was an interview with Famitsu. He was talking about The Last of Us and how great The Last of Us was and how that kind of concerned him. So, I mean, just more of like he's just talking about how The Last of Us, and he hopes that The Last Guardian will be as good as The Last of Us.
Of The Last Guardians. It'll be Last of Us version of, whatever. Yeah. I don't know why you would want to
knows?
create that. Like, I like The Last Guardian because, or like, you know, like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus and all those games because they're a lot more like quiet, like introspective, like you're experiencing it. The Last of Us is like much more of like a narrative
Well,
story.
he was more talking about how great they did the narrative, and for The Last of Us, how he wanted you to feel things for Shadow of the Colossus and for Ico, but how he thinks that they did such a good job of the interactions between Ellie and your main character, and
I can see
I
that.
think that's what he's
But I
referring
thought
to
that
specifically.
I mean, like the shots that they were showing of the shots that they've been showing at previous E3s and like other stuff, like I would actually say some of these games like Last of Us like picked up on that in order to create the interaction between a non-player character and the player character.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, it could be. So one real quick hit for you guys, because we do need to wrap up, is that devs can now use Unity to develop on Wii U.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is a pretty big deal.
It's a big deal.
So now all those games that have been coming out that developers have been using Unity for, now it will be incredibly easy to just move it over and put it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
So now you can cross-platform even more.
There's like a what was it, Hat Girl or Hat in Time? Wasn't
Yeah,
that
and Magic
developed
Hat in Time. Is that Unity?
I think that is Unity, and like that would make it so that I mean I don't know if
That's what they wanted.
They've gotten their dev kits already because that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
It's like so Nintendo was going to give them some dev kits, but that might make it a lot easier. For
I backed
games
the Hat
like
in
that.
Time, hoping that it would come out to Wii U. So I really hope so. All right, so let's go ahead and get to some comments from you guys from last week. Our question of the week last week to you guys was we were talking about the first game you ever beat. And once you guys got back to us on that, so Ryan Rosner on the chat saying the first game he ever beat was Conker's Bad Fur Day, which also just happens to be his favorite game. Great game, and I
Love
think
Conker's Bad
the
Fur Day.
first game you ever beat ends up having a special place in your heart.
Yeah.
Heel Fuzzy tweets at us, tweeted at Game Control Live that and that's Kyle Soden at Heel Fuzzy at heel_fuzzy tweeted at us, can't remember the first game I completed, but I know it was either Sonic 1, Aladdin, or Castle of Illusion, all on Mega Drive. And actually, I didn't even realize Mega Drive could play all of those games. I thought you needed a Genesis for some of those, but I guess I was wrong.
Well, different countries have different availability for those games, and you could mod them to remove some of the restrictions.
Yeah. So Epic Aaron Buck says, thank you, you're epic too, buddy. Thanks.
Is it Epicurean?
No.
No?
Epicurean. Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be like isn't that a food person?
I don't know. Guillermo Cornejo. Sorry, I don't know. Guillermo Cornejo says this is the second time. Last week was the second time he watched the show. The first time he didn't really like it. But now he stared at the monitor. He thought we were all very entertaining and hilarious, and he really enjoyed it. He says, keep up the good job, and greetings from El Salvador, Central America. So thank you so much for giving us a second chance, and I hope you continue to enjoy the show. I hope you like this week. So yeah. So Peter the D's in the house. He's gonna be doing Game Control Rewind.
Rewind.
And Peter D's, we gave you a shout out last week of the first game you ever beat. Apparently you weren't watching the show because you suck now.
Oh shit.
Throwing down.
Oh shit.
Throwing down. All right, guys. So, question of this week is Gamescom. Was there anything from Gamescom that excited you guys? Was there anything that you heard, anything you saw from Gamescom that you guys were like, oh snap? Gamescom, I'm excited. So
specifically for me, I guess, what games?
Yeah,
because, like,
any games.
The hardware is kind of like it's a toss-up. There's still loyalty on both sides, but what games got you interested?
So let us know your Gamescom thoughts. And with that, guys, we will wrap up. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. Please do follow us on Twitter at Game Control Live. Please check out our YouTube. That's now live, Game Control Tube. We now have a Tumblr available. That's GameControlTV.tumblr.com. So our Game Control Tumblr is now up. Check it out. That will have Game Control Rewind on it, Game Control Live, and all of our new upcoming shows, our interviews, everything will be tumbled up.
Is this more Hiroaki?
Yeah, and now we've actually got some more Hiroaki Yura. This is him performing Chrono Cross. He's also a violinist.
Love Chrono Cross.
He's performing the Radical Dreamer song from Chrono Cross. He didn't write the song, but it's him performing. So more Hiroaki Yura. Big Hiroaki Yura episode this week. So Hiroaki Yura, awesome guy. We really appreciate his call. So cool stuff there. And guys, once again, I'm Dave Klein. There's a lot of talking. Once again, I'm Dave Klein. You can find me on Twitter at @TheDaveKlein. That's Klein. Check it out.
You can find me at KAORIOUS, Kaorius.
And you can find me on Twitter at GAK.
And me at the Raychul.
And me at Now Quick.
And me. Oh, wait. I already did mine. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Stay tuned for Game Control Rewind of The Walking Dead Season 1 coming up next. Peace.
Peace, yeah. Peace.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.